Hi everyone, you're watching our special talk show dedicated to the International Human Rights Day. And today we have Tristan Massad, Solidarity Center Country Program Director in Ukraine, and George Sandel, Labor Initiatives Legal Director. And our conversation today is on labor rights, the most crucial topic today. We all know that labor rights are human rights, but how people realize this maxima?
Thank you, Tristan, for joining us. And like speaking about labor rights in Ukraine and realization how it's connected to the human rights in general, probably like from our empirical experience from the labor rights legal clinic, it came from the COVID when people lost something that they thought was granted for them, like their labor rights, they were fired or something, and the war comes. People lost their jobs, people lost their wages, and they're applying to us, and we have this experience to deal with this, and people really realize that it's vital to sustain in general, like to be alive, to have those labor rights that they have before.
Yeah, I think that people often take labor rights as a second tier right. They think about human rights in terms of, were there fair elections or do I have freedom of speech? But the reality is that that's all very dependent on whether or not you can feed yourself and your family, whether or not you have a house, and all of the things that really come from whether your work is fair. Do you have a job? Are you fairly paid? It would be good to understand that labor rights are a real foundational human right, that it really has to be there for other types of rights to be realized.
Yeah, so it's very basic, like to sustain like your existence in this country and in any other.
I mean, many people spend, half their waking life at the job, and that's how they pay for their apartment, that's how they pay for food, that's how they pay the clothes of their children. So if your situation there is very arbitrary and very difficult to defend, you're not going to enjoy anything else in society as much. You need to have that to be something that's safe, that's decent, that's paid on time, that is a place where you can assert your rights.
No, that's why we're arguing with many of the stakeholders that you should preserve this, like during the crisis times, because like if we are speaking like about preserving workforce or something like preserving those rights as a basics, it's a base for like rebuilding Ukraine like after the war, or like sustaining lives here, like to feed like military, for example, like or something like this.
Absolutely. I mean, it's
Yeah.
good wages that will help Ukraine recover from the war.
And
That's where people are going to be economically active. That's where new businesses are going to be created. It's going to be created by people being paid enough to cover their basic needs and to have savings.
and also like savings, it's a base for starting small and medium enterprises. For example, like it's like statistically made not by like bank loans, but by savings. Like I earn something, like I open like small coffee shop or something like. So it's a matter of economic development, basically.
Well, and you see, you have this incredibly well-educated population in Ukraine, very dynamic, small and medium enterprises, lots of new ideas in technology and fashion and other places that will become things that make Ukrainian society wealthier if people can do these, if they can take their idea and make it happen. Now, obviously, things are in difficult circumstances because of the Russian invasion and the war now, but you still will need good jobs for people to return from internationally, good jobs for veterans who coming out of the war, good jobs for folks who have suffered disabilities as a result of the war. All these different kind of contexts are going to come back to whether or not people can make a better life.
Yeah, and this is the specific topic, like how to attract people to work here, like veterans, people with disabilities, and of course, like migrants, refugees, and so on. Like, you should have like decent jobs, like, and the first precondition for this, like, it's labor law, like, it's decent condition, and so on. And that's why we're working with the trade unions that are drivers for these changes that were active in this economic field for years, that may preserve this to make it attractive to people, not to live somewhere like in Europe, but to come back here. Probably.
Yeah, I mean, to stop brain drain, to have the workforce you need to both engage in entrepreneurship and to deal with reconstruction, you know, and just to have the amount of money in society that's circulating is going to come from wages. It's not going to come from FDI, foreign direct investment. It's not going to come externally. You know, there's no magic to it. You have to have people making decent wages and leading lives where they have excess money to spend, where they can engage in the things that, you know, their hopes and dreams, and on top of paying for food.
Money is made by people. Yeah, like that's probably the one maxima that like lawmakers, like, and stakeholders should understand.
Well, and I think when you look at something like International Human Rights Day, it's always important to think about kind of, you know, that B follows A, that there are foundational rights that help create space for other rights. And I think that's, you know, labor law, labor in general is the place where people enable a lot of their other possibilities in their lives. And I think that's you know, something we want to try to make sure is available for folks in Ukraine, especially as they go through and hopefully come out victoriously from the invasion.
Yeah, and what we may see, like in each daily work, that people are like probably the mostly like concerned about their first of all right to live. Like, if we are speaking about like international human rights, like if we were taking Universal Human Rights Declaration, Constitution of Ukraine, like, it's right to live, like. And on the second place, it's a right to work, like, it's labor rights. So that's why we discuss it.
And, you know, that's the passion and the purpose of both labor initiatives and Solidarity Center. That's what we're trying to be helpful and in solidarity with. And I know that you know, we'll continue that effort this next year.